Hello, my darlings. Welcome to another ASMR art video. I'm ALB in Whisperland, and I'm so happy to have you with me today. As you can see, I've already done the line art for the piece we're going to be working on today, because it's kind of involved, and I just thought it would be easier this way. And it's fun to watch watercolor paint fill up a spot. So I already drew and inked this pin-up of Widowmaker from Overwatch, and we're gonna paint it. So I've got paint here, and I've got my water over here, which you can't really see too well, and I've got a various assortment of brushes. There's like a particular couple that I'll probably just mixing some purpley blue over here in my palette. Because I have to do this little back piece. I almost forgot about this. Because her name is Widowmaker, she also has like this kind of spidery aspect to her, the top of her jumpsuit too, but I'm gonna paint that on after. I'm not gonna do that right now. That'll be the next step. I will have to say, like, Widowmaker isn't necessarily my favorite character in Overwatch, but she just has such a cool design. When I was thinking about who would be interesting to do for a video like this, Widowmaker was like at the top of my list because she's got such a cool costume design. It's just brilliant. Okay, I'm thinking we're gonna do the hair now. And the hair is like this super dark purple. So I'm gonna mix a lot of blue in there too. Lots of purple. And this is how I'm gonna do it. I want her hair to look super shiny, you know? So I'm gonna try to create where I think those shines would be. Like this. Needs to be a little purplier. Looks a little blue. And like, she has such a cool ponytail. Her ponytail isn't quite as like curly and, you know, whatever in the game, but I had to make it a little more my style. You know, I couldn't help myself. It's fine. I know you guys have an appreciation or pretend to for the kind of curlier stuff I tend to do. It's fun though. Everybody gets to put their own little twist on the characters. And honestly, like, that is one of the reasons I love Overwatch fan art. I'm always retweeting Overwatch fan art on Twitter because there's so much great stuff, and I honestly think that is one of the best things that Overwatch like has brought out is so much good fan art. So just as a tip for watercolors, sometimes if you're not really sure about placement, you can use just water to see if a line works well there. If it doesn't, just let it dry. Don't touch it. If it does, put more water over top and then fill in that area with the color. Watercolor is one of those mediums that, like, I will admit, takes a lot of practice, and it can be hard if you're not familiar, but I say get familiar, you know? You're only gonna get better at something by doing it a lot. That's my attitude. And everybody can get better. You could have never picked up a paintbrush before in your life. You'll still get better the more that you do it. And it's never too late to start doing art. Even if it's just a hobby for you, that's okay. Maybe it can be something you do to de-stress, or for fun, or to spend time doing an activity with someone else. as well. So, let's see. Let's see here. And I want to make them shiny too. And when I say make them shiny, I mean like to have reflection on them because they're made of, you know, a kind of shiny material. Needs to have more paint on my brush there. So in case you're wondering, I do have a reference photo up of her costume in front of me, just for the colors, because there's no way I would be able to remember this offhand. I don't want to mess it up on camera. I'd rather have a reference photo up, you know? That way I can know it's the right thing and it gets to be, you know, the actual right color that is needed. I would be so sad if after the video is done I didn't use a reference and I realized like that I did something wrong. I would feel so sad about it. But I mean, obviously the drawing is my own thing and everything we're doing here is original, my own. I really love the boot design. Like, as I was drawing this, I was like, oh man, these shoes are amazing and I wish I could own them in real life. I guess I could make them, but that's not really my area of expertise, to be perfectly honest with you. But I can't imagine they'd be very comfortable to walk in. Oh well. The sacrifices we make for fashion, huh? My brush handle is really long, and I'm having to be careful so that it doesn't hit my mic. That would be a very not good sound, I think. Yeah. Very unpleasant indeed. Oh, I love these shoes. And like these little, they're almost like crystals. It was kind of hard to tell in all of her reference photos that I found what they were. But they seem like either sort of like diamonds or like little crystals, you know? I mean, we can decide that they're whatever we want for the sake of this video. Because there's no one here telling us we're wrong. But they kind of look like little crystals or something in the pictures that I've seen. I'm gonna do this underneath side of her shoe like in a hot pink. So I'm not gonna paint that in just yet. So we'll just fill in this other kind of like shin guard-esque boot cover thing that she's got going on here. Need a little more black. Let's make this one a little bit darker. A little bit like that. Then we'll bring it down like this. Oops. Got a little where I didn't want it to go there, but like a super cutie pink. Just for fun. Kind of like, there's a status symbol of having like red undersoles to your shoes. And these little crystally bits are kind of like a light bluish color. So we'll do some of that right in here. lots of colors, even though there's not any like blue in the spot here. Just adding it for like basically the sense of it, the color. It looks interesting, I feel. A little bit more blue now. Let's pull that in there. I'm gonna put a little more pink in her cheeks. It's for fun. A little eyeshadow. Essentially. Okay. And in the hair. I know I'm doing too much now, but I can't help it. That. And like this. I will say, if I have any complaints about Overwatch, it's probably that you can't do two-player like in your own living room. And I just think it would be such a fun game to play at like a party or something, like if you were having people over. So I hope that maybe they add that eventually. It just like, games like this are so fun to play with company over, like a Mario Party sort of thing. Or, what was that game? Like the Zelda Warrior game that just came out like last year. That's like really fun to play with a bunch of friends over. I really enjoy that one. It's fun to play stuff like that as a team, and like I think because Overwatch is so team-based, it would be a really neat game to play as a team. The reason that I like 300-pound watercolor paper, and like why I was so happy when I found this sheet in my closet, is because you can put like a kabillion layers. Yes, kabillion is a real number. I just made it up. Or maybe I didn't. I don't know. I don't think it's real though. But anyway, you can put like a kabillion layers of water on, and it won't even flinch. Like it won't even crumble a little bit. It stays perfectly flat. It's amazing. Paper is sold by weight of a ream. So it's not like this specific paper is 300 pounds, but like a ream of it would be. And a ream, there is like a specific number for how many pages are on a ream, but I don't know that offhand. I'm sure someone in the comments is like a paper expert. Maybe they work at Dunder Mifflin and they could tell us that. But I don't know. Not offhand. Okay, I think that's good for her. But I wanted to, I think, a little background. So here's what we're gonna do. Just really quick. We're gonna do, let's see. We're gonna do kind of like a moon thing. Just gonna turn this to make it a little bit different. Gonna add some black in. I should have grabbed a bigger brush for this last bit. subtle way. I'm just turning this as I go because it's easier for me. Never be afraid to turn your canvas around. It's a very okay thing to do. This is where it gets a little tricky because I don't want to mess up any of our work with this. Yeah, so you gotta be careful. Just like that. this because there's not